How's it going, YouTube? My name is Diego Irigoyen, and we're back with another episode of the Creative Brain Training tutorial series. Today we're going to be discussing conscious breathing, which is the first section of the program and the first aspect that my students are introduced to in the classroom. So I wanted to remind everybody to stick around to the end of this video because we're going to be talking about some giveaways that are related to the conscious breathing practice, and that'll be valuable to you in getting started and something that'll motivate you and get you excited about sitting and breathing a little bit every day. So what is conscious breathing, and how did I come to include this as a part of the Creative Brain Training program? So back in about 2011, I had a bunch of things in my life going wrong, and I was riddled with anxiety. So that kind of sent me on a search for something that would help ease my anxiety and really bring some calm and peace back into the body and mind. And so I started doing different types of meditation, and I think I started with a very basic iPhone app called Sanjaya Meditation, and from there I started doing some mindfulness meditation with some groups on the campus, and then I dove into some mantra meditation, and throughout that whole year I experimented with a bunch of different types of yoga and meditation. In the end, I decided that breathing was the unifying factor here, and regardless of whether or not you call it meditation, all you're really doing is you're becoming aware of the breath. And so removing all of the associations that exist with meditation, I decided to call it conscious breathing, because this is what we're doing, is we're using the breath, we're noticing the breath, and through the breath we're going to bring some calm into the body. So that's my experience. The techniques I use are pretty basic, and you've probably come across them once or twice if you're not, or if you are familiar already with some types of meditation. First thing that we do when we are starting our conscious breathing, we sit in an erect posture. So we want to make sure that our spine is straight up, shoulders stacked right above the hips, and they're rolled back. So a good way to get your shoulders to roll back is by extending the arms and then turning the palms upward. You'll see that the shoulders naturally roll back when you turn the palms upward, and that'll help you find that very erect posture. And then the other thing you want to make sure of is that your head is not leaning forward. You want to make sure that your head is slightly tilted upward, and that's a very good position to sit in for a few minutes here as we do our conscious breathing. Now, a couple things about the breath. When we breathe, we want to make sure that we are breathing into the belly and allowing the belly to expand. It's a weird thing in society. For whatever reason, when we inhale, we tend to bring our bellies in. Has anyone heard of somebody telling them to suck it in? So we suck it in and then we bring our belly in. So this is actually improper breathing, and this confuses what is known as the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve helps regulate gut health, but it also helps deal with anxiety. So when we're breathing improperly, this actually creates a chemistry within the body that is more prone to anxiety. So if you ever notice there's a baby in your group and that baby is breathing and it has its belly pooched out, this is an indication that the baby has not yet been taught to breathe incorrectly or has forgotten to breathe correctly. So that's how we want to breathe. We want to breathe into the belly so that it expands, and this will help align itself with the vagus nerve so that the vagus nerve can do its job, which is help regulate that gut health and also help calm anxiety. So when we're breathing in our practice, we want to make sure that we're allowing the breath to fill the belly. And as you begin to become used to this sensation, you'll do it more naturally in your day-to-day life, and this will help keep you calm on a regular basis. So that's one thing to keep in mind while we're breathing. So we begin our conscious breathing exercise in our erect posture. If we're sitting in a chair, we want our feet to be flat on the floor, and we're going to begin with our fists closed. And so the eyes open, maybe focused on a point on the floor, and with our fists closed, we're going to take deep breaths in through the nose, really allowing the belly to expand with that inhale. And then as we exhale, we're going to let it out through the mouth. And with every exhale, we're going to release just one finger on each hand. And so we'll do this till our hands are open. So very conscious, deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, releasing just one finger on each hand as we go along. So once we have that part done, my students are sitting there with their hands open, and towards the end of that exercise, around breath 4 and 5, I encourage them to soften the gaze and allow the eyes to gently close. And so by that point, they will be sitting there with their hands resting on their lap, palms facing upward, hands open, and eyes closed. And from there we do an exercise that regulates the breath. So here we're going to have very specific control over the breath. And this helps bring an element of focus and that mental cognition, because we're going to be counting. So the way it works is you inhale for a count of 4 seconds, hold your breath in for a count of 4 seconds, and then you'll exhale for a count of 4 seconds, and then you'll hold your empty lungs for the count of 4 seconds. And you can count as quickly as you like, or you can count as slowly as you like. Oftentimes I'll find myself counting to the pace of my heartbeat. And what's most interesting about that is that you'll find as you inhale, your heartbeat might quicken, and as you exhale, your heartbeat will slow down. So this is just an indication how grand of an effect the breath has over the body. Most of my students, as I said in some of the earlier series, are incarcerated participants. So they're dealing with a very high stress environment, and so some of them have a very hard time going to sleep at night, or have a hard time relaxing and really lowering that blood pressure. And so this actually helps them a lot, and a lot of them come back saying that they wouldn't be able to sleep as well as they do if it wasn't for this exercise. So that's the first technique that they go through, is the regulation of the breath. From there, they move on to noticing the breath. So after doing the regulated breath for about a minute or two, so that would say be about 4 cycles of breathing in that way. So you're inhaling, so about 16 seconds at about 4 cycles. And after they're done with that part of the exercise, they'll return to breathing normally. And so from going from a very regulated breath to a natural breath, you will see that the body really breathes on its own. There isn't much effort that needs to be put in consciously for your body to breathe. And oftentimes you don't notice the breath until you control it, and then when you let go of it, you're not noticing how it operates on its own. So this is something really miraculous to notice, and I encourage my students to really notice all the sensations around the breath. So the rise and fall in your chest as you're breathing, the expanding and collapsing belly with every inhale and exhale. Maybe they can visualize the breath going in through the nose and down the esophagus, filling the lungs like a balloon. Maybe they can even hear the breath streaming in through the nose and down the throat. And these are all very calming sensations to notice. They go from a very regulated breath to the natural breath, and this allows them to become calm. And during this time here, I also ask them to acknowledge anything that they might be grateful for, something that they might take for granted, and then at the end of that, they go ahead and they set an intention for that day or that week. And I find that this is really helpful in allowing them to find purpose through the practice, because otherwise you're just sitting there, and maybe without the right inclination you might find it somewhat boring or not as interesting as it really should be. But applying those last couple of sections right there where you talk about your gratefulness and your intentions, I think really brings the practice into a practical sense. And then from there, we close off by doing counting of the exhales. So you count each exhale up to 10. So again, we're bringing in that cognitive factor. Now, you do have somewhat of a controlled breath. You don't have to control the breath here. You can allow for it to be natural and to just count the exhales. But for whatever reason, when we begin to count our breath, we have this minute control over it as well. So this is something interesting to notice. So you'll count the breath up to 10, And then once you get to 10, you will continue to count the breath, but this time you will count backwards from 10 down to 1. So again, that cognitive factor, that mental factor to controlling the breath. And then once you've reached 1, you will again allow the breath to resume at its natural pace. And here you will begin to slowly bring life back into the body. So we usually begin by just lifting up the toes. And by lifting up the toes, you're going to notice all the different muscles in your legs that take to lift up the toes. And then from there, you will slowly begin to wiggle some life into each finger on your hand. And this is one of the most interesting things for me, because I find that my body almost becomes stone during this process, and when I begin to wiggle the fingers, it's as if I'm waking them up from being encapsulated in stone. So that's one of my favorite parts of the conscious breathing, is there at the end when I'm waking my body back up, and to see that it really dozed off there during that time. And once you have that life in the hands, you can roll back the shoulders a little bit. Oftentimes people will begin to slouch during the conscious breathing, so this is a great time to notice that, wow, I lost some of my posture without even noticing. And so you can again rectify your posture, and then in your own time you can gradually begin to open up the eyes. And you want to do this very slowly. You don't want to really abruptly open up your eyes because of the light intake can change. So that's the basic practice that my students go through in the class. Now in the more advanced class, we talk about how to take this practice on the go so that you can really keep it with you at all times. And this is something that I did that benefited me greatly. So I would attach a mantra to the breath. And when I first started doing this, I wanted to find peace within, and I really wanted to express love in my interactions to other people. So I can be kind of cold at times, or I can be kind of shy and maybe blunt or dry. So I really wanted to kind of change that up by consciously exhaling love into the interactions that I had. So I would inhale peace and exhale love, and I would do this all the time. I'd walk around school, walk from class to class doing this. I would sit in class doing this. And what was interesting is that as I consciously breathed in these two thoughts, I would find that I would actually listen more. I was more aware of what was going on. When I had something to focus on with the breath, I would intuitively become aware of what was going on around me, and I thought that was very interesting. And so this is something that really helped me focus in class and really find some motivation to interacting with the people around me, and then also feel calm in those social situations that might bring me anxiety. So that was something that helped me a lot. And the great thing about this is that you can customize it. And so when I first began teaching within the prison system, as you might imagine, I was a little bit nervous, and I wasn't sure what to expect. So what I did was I modified the mantra, and I changed it to inhaling confidence and exhaling respect. And that was something that I used going into the prison and into that environment that was somewhat daunting. And it really, I found that it really helped me deal with that anxiety that came with that new job. And so this is something that you can constantly modify to whatever you need, and it's something that I think is really valuable. And if you've never done it before, give it a try. Find those two things that you would like to bring into your life and exert into the world, and inhale and exhale it all day. And let me know in the comments if it works out for you, whether or not maybe you just think it's gibberish and it's not working for you. But let me know if you try it, because that is something that I think is really valuable, and I highly encourage you to give that a try. So if you're interested in a step-by-step kind of guided practice, I'll have a recording up on my website that you can download for free, and that is a little guided practice for you. If you're interested in more conscious breathing, look up on YouTube. There's tons of different types of breathing techniques. I was just at a yoga training yesterday for incarcerated participants, so specifically dealing with how to teach yoga to inmates. And I learned so much about the breath there and all the little techniques, because oftentimes you don't want to have these participants doing all these awkward movements in yoga, so there's certain things we have to stay away from, but the breath is something that we can really utilize to help unify their practice, and I learned so much from it. So I highly encourage you to look into the breath. Wim Hof is a really incredible person. If you've never heard of Wim Hof, the Iceman, look into his technique and breathing. You can do some incredible things through the breath. I highly encourage you to look into the breath a little bit more than just this video. If you're interested in the giveaways that were coming up, we're going to talk about that right now. So with this video here, specifically what I will be giving away is this fancy meditation pillow. So it's a nice little cushion that you sit on the floor, and it props you up so that your spine can more naturally become erect. You take pressure off the knees if you're sitting cross-legged on the floor, and this will make your practice so much more comfortable. I have my pillow here under me. This one here has buckwheat in it. It's a very nice quality pillow, and if you're interested in this, then all you have to do is participate in the giveaway by 1, liking the video, and by 2, going and posting in the comment section below 3 ways to describe this video, whether it was informative or whether it was funny or boring or whatever you think about it. Now, the other thing that I give away with this video is a handwritten letter, as I do with all of the videos. You will also get a personalized artwork. So the 3 words that you choose to describe this video are the words that are going to be included in the artwork if you're chosen. And so if you would rather choose words that are focused on the artwork, go ahead and choose those instead. And all of this will be entered into a raffle data system, and that's how you'll get chosen. So again, like the video, comment in the section below with 3 words, and oh, the last thing that you will be given is a copy of Michael J. Lavery's Whole Brain Power. So this is the book that really initiated my search for how to find harmony within the brain, and I'll be giving away a copy of that book as well, because I think it is an amazing program that everybody should be aware of. So once again, like this video, go ahead and comment in the section below 3 words that either describe this video or you would like to be included in your personalized artwork, and we will talk to you again soon. If you're enjoying the videos and you're excited for the upcoming tutorial series, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because we're going to keep them coming. We also have an accompanying blog post to this video, so if you're interested in a little bit more detail about the conscious breathing and some more techniques that are valuable that I couldn't share in this video because of time, go ahead and check out the accompanying blog post on my website. It's under the Experience tab, and there we have a bunch of blog posts that talk about art criticism and art appreciation, as well as the Creative Brain Training Program and my up-and-coming book. So go ahead, make sure to check that out, and all the links will be in the description below. Thank you very much for tuning in. Take care.